So this is a recap of last week. We'll start with gold. So gold opened here last Sunday after dropping quite a lot previous week. That was a massive drop from the 18th, which was just mental. So it finally found a bottom, which was here around the 4-1 level. So basically, from the 18th of March, it dropped from 5,000 all the way down to 4-1, which is just unheard of. I hope if you were trading it, you done all right out of it. So I found a bottom just before the UK Open at 7:30, and then it started to pull back. We put on our charts some whole numbers just to start with, just to see whether we get to go through them or react to them or whatever. So from before the UK Open, or European Open, shall I say, to just before or just after the US Open, we found a nice previous support level, acting as now resistance at the 4,500 level. And we'll see going into last week that was quite a decent area to use as a guide into our charts. So Monday, it was moving around, getting into the afternoon. It didn't really pull back to the 4-3 level, which was tested on Monday morning to then break through until early during the Asian session on Tuesday. So 1:45 in the morning on Tuesday. So we can now use this level going into the rest of the week, going into Tuesday, as a good support level. So we now got our buy zone at 4.3 and our sell zone at 4.5. So when we can start deciding how we're going to trade it. By this point, you probably haven't put many trades on because of we don't know where we needed to find an area where gold was reacting at. I mean, you could have got a nice big push up on here, but we'll see. That was a message from Trump about Iran. We'll see when we look at the other charts in the week that basically mirrored across most pairs. So going into Tuesday morning, this is early Tuesday, so 2 in the morning. If you're up early or trade the Asian session, this was a good level at 4.3. So this, we can now plot out our wedge, which we did on going into Tuesday morning. This level here we used previously as a sort of mid-range point, as when we were within this wedge, it reacted and couldn't break above it, which is a good point where we can use as a sort of interim support or resistance area. And as you can see here, it did fail to break it, false out, back down to the bottom of the trend line on the wedge, at it again. So this wedge pattern was a pretty good area to buy if it broke through, and it did. I was waiting all day for this on Tuesday, and typically it done it in the evening, like it always bloody does. So I don't know whether anyone managed to get this breakout of the wedge on gold on Tuesday night, but it was quite good. Basic stuff, really. Breaking out of wedges, etc. When gold does that, especially with previous buy and sell zones, like the big drop, when it breaks through it, it does it with quite spectacular fashion. And the same with this one. So the first point where we'd be looking at as for where we should see a reaction is our previous sell zone. Obviously, if it were to react badly to the upside on that, we would want it to break, sort of attack it failure to break it to the upside, come down and then retest and break it and not break it again. So then we can go short. However, this time it decided just to smash through it again. Not as reactive as this level here, or even the breakout above the wedge, but it did it in some fashion. It's difficult to, after this massive drop on gold, it's difficult to find new key levels, because those other levels before it dropped on the 18th, that was there for a good week, so it's difficult to sort of find out which levels are good for that. So going into Tuesday evening again, it broke above here, so this level now becomes our buy zone, or support level, because it's now broken through it. It's sort of retested. If you go to the 5 minute, the 5 minute, it sort of broke above it and then tried to retest it. Is that? Yeah, try to retest it again. No, a bit, sorry. This here, it's 5 minutes, sorry. So it did go through, it did pull back slightly. So you could have got in on a long there. But again, it's like 11 o'clock at night. So, you know, most traders who trade the UK and the US session don't trade that. So that's fine. It doesn't matter. You know, don't get any FOMO. Don't worry about missing out, because it will, you know, those levels will be used again. So broke here, and then during Asian session, it did get to another whole level of 4.6. So what I'll do here, I can put this on here as a new high, and we'll just put that there for now and drag it. We're probably going to be hitting that at some point this week, so we'll leave it over there. And going into the Asia session, going in from the Asia session into the UK session, this has probably been used, well, definitely been used before. I can see it from here. Nice rejection here and some rejection here. So this level can be used as a area of interest quite easily, because it has actually been used before, and it has you know, failed to break it or smash through it or whatever. So it is a good one to use, and it's a whole number. So I always use whole numbers if I can, when uh, I'm looking at my levels. So it was sort of consolidating a bit between here, and going into just before the UK session. It did find a little bit of support again. This level here has been used before, intraday, so you know, you can always use these levels multiple times. You know, it could be that this 4.6 level could be used again in like 6 months time. So always keep them on your charts, because they are good. So I sort of been trying to get in the trade during the Wednesday UK session. Um, it was probably not the best to try and find a trade, because it is sort of consolidating between this 4.6 level and this support level here. But you can still trade it. You can put this sort of intraday, probably 5 minute resistance area here if you wanted to trade it. But as you can see here, it is consolidating, going into from early morning on the Wednesday, which is the UK session start, all the way through to the evening. But as you can see here, it did finally break below this support level, and it didn't sort of pull back at all. And it did drop a bit. So what we should have done, yeah, obviously this is during the Asia session. Last week has been moving quite a lot during the Asia session. It did break below it, back to our um, previous zone from the day before. So that's when I say about using the zones, you know, on multiple days. So just keep them on your charts. It did break. It did fail to break above this new resistance level, which it made throughout the just under the consolidation time during the UK and US session there. And it did break below it. So, you know, but again, that's 1 in the morning. So if you do trade those sort of times, then you would have spotted that and you could have gone short under the false breakout of this resistance level. And it did drop down quite a lot. So the reason why I said about this level here is because it was now used going into Thursday's session. As you can see here, there was more consolidation here. We did try get into a trade on here, but it didn't really do too much. So again, probably getting in sake on that one. But sometimes you can do a quick scalp. I'm not a scalper really, but if there's opportunity for a good few sort of couple hundred pips, then I'm going to obviously take it. So bit of consolidation here, and then it broke to the lows. So, again, you probably wouldn't have caught this level here unless you're scalping. But what you could have done was you could have used um, this second area of resistance where it failed to break above to go short. So, but again, that was at 4:15, so it's quite late in the afternoon for the UK. So going into Friday, then the Asia session. If I put actually, what I can do is I'll put in the Asia. I put in the timestamps here so you can see what price was doing. So as you can see here, this area for London, it was consolidating, as you can see here, and it did break down going into the New York session. Obviously, the volume was there going into the mid New York session. So this is a bit of no man's land. So the rest of the New York session was sort of just umming and ahhing, thinking about what to do, and then going into the evening again, it just spiked straight up back into this previous bottom of this channel support level, now resistance. So it's there's a lovely attempt to try and break it, but obviously you can see it didn't. And the intraday sort of evening consolidation zone of the price here, you could have used these rejections and then the breakdown. So we use that as you could use that as support. And it basically, the reason why we'd use that is okay. So it broke that, it failed to go lower, so then it pushed up. So we can extend this support zone going forward. So think about it. If it's 11 o'clock on Thursday, what you'd only see is that. So what you would do is you would just extend this trend. You'd extend this support zone across. Obviously, this data wouldn't be here yet because it'd be too, wouldn't have started yet. And as you can see here, it did pull back into this resistance area, which was previous support, and it did pull back to this intraday's new support zone, and it basically bounced off it quite nicely actually going into the Asian session. So that was at 1 o'clock in the morning. So that was a pretty nice false attempt to try and break the lows. So that's a good entry point to put a trend line in. Obviously, going into the Asia session, it did sort of to start to push back up and up and up, back to the top of this channel, which is now going to be. So this support is now going to be this resistance is now going to be support, and we've now got this area here, which is now a new resistance level. So what we can do is I'll do it in a minute while we get to Friday. So going into the Asia session, you can see here that the Asia session ended here back straight on this area of resistance. It did push back up a little bit into the area here when it broke above the channel, but it didn't break and close above it, so we wouldn't have got into a long there. So so this is no man's land. So this is the time between the Asia close and the UK open. It was going down. We did put a trade on here, as you can see here. So we did put a wedge pattern here from the two tops and the bottom here. So we were waiting. Initially, we were waiting for a breakout of the wedge or break below the wedge. But what actually happened was, I was waiting for a breakdown, which it did happen here. it did push back up to retest the wedge, and it basically went back down again. So a good trade here would have been a little scalp, a short off of this trend line, but it wasn't really doing much. You can see here so many wicks on it. It wasn't doing much, mid morning. So the next area which I was looking for, so this would have been here from the day before. Nice resistance into Friday morning. Now support because it broke through it. Support again, and it did break through it going into Friday. So Friday morning, it would have looked like that. And it did break below it. And because it broke below it in quite a good engulfing candle, I actually went short on this with a take profit with a stop loss just above this support zone. Unfortunately, it didn't move as much as I thought, so I got out for minimal profit on that one. So what I should have done, because it didn't break and close and have a decent move to the downside when it broke below it, I should have waited for it to go in the opposite direction. So I probably got in a bit early there. And unfortunately, I did miss that long trade here because I wasn't actually at my desk. So that's a bit annoying. So my short trade cashed out for a few hundred, for a couple hundred pips, not even that. And it did eventually break above this this zone here. It didn't retest the trend line yet, but it did fail massively to break below this support zone, and it broke it, retested it. Lovely green candle here on the retest. This would have been the perfect entry if I was at my desk, and it probably would have been targeting the trend line, which it did go up there, and then it did retrace down. But again, I wasn't at my desk, and it kept going up from there, which was quite surprising for a Friday afternoon. It did keep going up, so we did get a breakout of the previous day's support, now resistance area, more of the sort of longer term zone areas, like structure area. If I take the time zones off, as you can see here, this level here, the 5K level, was quite a key level last week, and it was sort of dipping in and out of it all week. Swing swing trading aspects of it, but it did break above it, and it did pull back slightly, go back to the 5 minute. It did pull back, try and retest it, and it failed. So we did get in the long trade off that because I was back at my desk then, and it went back up, and it went up to 4, 5.5, which previously, oh, that's the hour chart, previously has been used as a nice rejection area. That was done on the 20th of March when it was basically falling out of its arse. So that is basically gold last week. It's currently at this sell. Well, it's now going to be a buy zone or support zone, whichever you want to call it, at the 4.5 level. It's closed just below it. So going into this week, we need to see a clear uh, push back up to get some longs, or if it's going to go the other way, we need to see a nice breakdown of the 4.5K level for it to then um, to come down, retest, and then come back down again. So our first area we're going to look at swing trading specifically is going to be the lows from last week, which is going to be this buy zone at 443. It might not go that far down as quickly if it goes to the downside, but flip that. We need to see a nice push off this 4.5K level, break structure. This is a 5 minute, so break the 5 minute structure highs from last Friday, and then we need it to then, oops, we need it to then retest the structure highs at this level here. Oh, so this level here, we need to wait for it to break above it, retest the structure highs for it to then go up. So interesting time for gold at the moment. We should see some good moves going into next week. It's probably going to have to wait before we look to put a trade on, unless something comes out in the news over the rest of the weekend and it makes some big moves to either side really. But we need to wait for confirmation on gold. So we're at a key level at 4.5K. We just need to wait for it to either break structure to the downside or clear this previous high. So the high from last week is this 4.6 level. So we could see it keep above this 4.5K level to then smash through this 4.6 level for it to then retest to go up. So that's what we're looking at for gold. And we will take a look at another pair shortly. So this is FTSE for last week. So pretty much similar to gold on the week before. It did drop quite a lot. We had a good buy here on Tuesday the 17th before the drop. Obviously, this was a day where gold dropped, so it does sort of mirror it slightly. But going into the start of last week, if we go to the 5-minute, we got right. So we had the open here. So obviously a little drop, a gap down on the open. Going into Sunday open into Monday. So during the Asia session, it did break below the highs made at 1 o'clock and previous Friday. So what we were looking at then was whether it's going to break the highs there or it's going to break the lows going into the UK session, and it did. So 4 in the morning, it did try to retest back up to here, but then it did fail to do so. It broke below it, retested, and went down. So we would have been waiting for some sort of move, whether it's going to retest this new resistance level or just keep going down, basically. So what actually happened? So that big move up on gold we saw on the other chart, that move there, as you can see, was exactly the same. But the same thing happened to the FTSE, which was at sort of 11 o'clock, sorry, on Monday. So we saw a massive spike up on that, which we were expecting some sort of move, to be fair, because of the downward moves previously. We had a key level which we're looking out for to the upside of 10,000, because it did break 10,000 on Friday morning, which was quite a key level and key support going into Thursday and Friday of the previous week. As you can see here, it was definitely respected quite well. And then when it went down pretty dramatically, same as gold. So we wouldn't really bother trying to trade this because it just keeps going down and down and down. But what you would have done, you would have tried to short it on the top of the sort of channel, because we call it a channel or consolidation, whatever you want to call it. And it would have been a good short here, but obviously we weren't trading it on a Friday. So it is what it is. So anyway, so you wouldn't have done that, and then you wouldn't have traded here because it just keeps going down. So you would want to wait for a nice. You would have wanted to wait for a nice reaction somewhere. I mean, it could have gone down. It could have pulled back to this resistance level, and it could have gone straight back down, but on this occasion it didn't. So these two levels here, because it was respected a couple of times, and you probably guarantee as well. If I go to the 15-minute, this level here, if I move it all the way down here, you probably would have seen that previously it has been used before. You might have to go quite far back on that because FTSE has been going up quite a lot recently. And the last time it was at 9.8, it probably was quite a while ago. So I just want to try and prove a point really. Let's get to the let's do it on a 4-hour chart. So it's here, isn't it? Yeah, this is area here. So yeah, you can see there that this was a previous level, respected level, and then breakthrough and consolidating. So that level was pretty good. So we can use that then going forward, like we always try and do. Let's now go back to the 5-minute. So bear with, sorry, that's the 26. So because now we've gone to the 5 minutes, it's Tuesday, right? Cool. So that's a level I just planted out. So it is previous, and as you can see here, it did break through. It did make some sort of high at 10,000, and it then did pull back like it should do. If it goes on a nice upward upward spike, it will always try and pull back. It does always sort of try and react at key numbers or previous support resistance levels, and it did go to just under, what, pretty much bang on 10,000, and it did pull back. And guess what it pulled back to? Right in this previous resistance, now support level, which it just respects all the time. You know, when it does respect it a lot, and that's why you need to keep it on your charts. And it sort of respected up until about here. It doesn't always happen, but you can then use that as your confirmation to wherever you want, how you want to trade it. And you could have gone long off here, to then retest the 10K level. But as you can see here, it was sort of consolidating a bit, going into there. It did try and break down, and it did sort of retest this area. So you could have gone in, as on a buy here. We actually went in on a buy here as the zones were on this particular day. So this is Tuesday, 9 o'clock. Our zones were here, which was the highs, and this is a 10K level. So we actually went long here on the Tuesday. Yeah, so the Tuesday morning, we were waiting for this to retest our buy zone. As you can probably see, if I get our Discord up for that day, so that would have been the 24th. 24th of March. We actually went in a trade here, so we had this buy zone here, which we sent out on our Discord. So buy zone, sell zone. Sell zone was at 10K. Buy zone was this previous level here, and it did actually. We got out a bit too early. We actually got out at 9949, which was too early, which we normally do. To be fair, we normally get out too early on these. So we called this buy, off the back of a rejection off the buy zone, and it actually went all the way to 10K. So that was a fantastic buy if you looked at our analysis on our Discord and you took the trade. So that was a great trade. So bear that in mind. So it went up. It broke the intraday highs here, and that's actually a good intraday area to look for. So it broke above it, retest, smash through, went up to 10K. So if you missed the buy here, you could have got in here, to then buy it to break through the 10K level and use the previous high. Instead of using the 10K level as your take profit, you can use the previous high as your take profit. So this level here is a 10K level, which has been respected, and it's a whole number. So I always use whole numbers, like I said before. So it broke through the 10k level, retested, and then sort of consolidated a little bit around here before finally breaking out of. So the new buy zone would now be 10k, and it broke above it, and then it retested. So that would have been a good entry point here, breaking through free, breaking above 10k out of the channel, and then this retest here would have been a great entry point to use as a buy. As you can see, what did happen eventually was it did reject here. It did go up to a new high of the week, and it did reject it again and again, and it, because it didn't go through this new sell zone, we know it's probably going to eventually sort of break down towards the lows. So this is our new channel. So move if we try and move this, this is now our new consolidation or channel, whichever way you want to call it. So sell zone, buy zone here. Because it didn't break or test this new sell zone area, we knew it may potentially go down. So going into Thursday, so this is basically Wednesday morning all the way to Thursday Asian session. If we pop in so as you can see here, it consolidated through London and New York. New York ended here, no man's land here, the Tokyo session, and then what happened was it it didn't break above it or even test the previous highs of the channel here. It didn't even do anything like that. It's very similar to when gold dropped out of our channel on the 18th. So history does repeat itself. So this buy zone would have been here on Wednesday into Thursday. So going into Thursday morning, it did finally break below, and it did respect a previous area of resistance, now support. So when it broke below this channel, it did retest that. So now this buy zone becomes a sell zone, and now it's a new channel. So what we'll do is we'll then move this down to here, and this is now becomes our channel. So we're basically doing breakouts, really. Trying to trade breakouts is what we're trying to do. Oh, I'll move that now. Bear with. Okay, let's move that out of the way now for the time being. So what we've done actually, we gave out a fantastic sell. I don't like using the word signal because it's not a signal. We're not a signal provider. We supply analyze charts and help you with your trading. So on Thursday's Discord update with all our analyzing of our watch list, which is now 50% off only until this is the last Sunday you're going to get 50% off. So normally it's £99, but if you want a discount, it's 50% off, but only runs until the last day of the month. So this is the last Sunday you're going to get to be able to start a new week as a fresh. Obviously, it lasts for a whole month, and then it's a recurring payment every month. But we're doing 50% off at the moment on our first month. So once the 1st of April comes, it's not going to be there. It's back to £99. So grab yourself the discount while you can. If you want the discount, just message me, and I'll send you the link to our website and get that sorted out. But today would be a great day to do it because you've been paid. It's the start of a new month coming up this month, so start of a new week. Make the most of it. So this sell zone here on Thursday morning, which was the 26th of March. 26th of March. I need to find out on our Discord. Wednesday, the 25th. So 26th of March. is here. So you can see, oh, there we go. You can see here that we had this level here, which was just below the 10k level, which was respected. So that was this level here. That's our 10k level. So we had a new sell zone and a new buy zone because of that, which is here. So new buy zone, new sell zone. This was at 8:48 in the morning, and as you can see here, 8:48 in the morning was here on Thursday the 26th. So this was our new respected zones, which you can use to plot your trades when you're trying to put a trade on. And going through the week, we had this sell here, and then we also had a fantastic, because it did pull back a bit. We actually got in twice on this trade. I had one trade, one sell open from Thursday, and then I actually opened it again on another trading account on the Friday because the entry was such a good entry. I was really proud of myself on that entry. It's just what that the monthly fee for that was worth it just for that trade. And if I show you the actual announcement, if you want to call it that, which was here at what time was that? I don't know what time that was now. 7:01 in the morning. So yeah, so as you can see here, this call here, where we're using our sell zone as a potential short, was actually here. So 6:25. So it was an hour and around this 10k level, and it did break above it. So what what could have happened was he could have gone in a bit early on that one, but because we used our previous levels of our buy and sell zones, we got in at a fantastic entry point, which was here. And I think when we went live on TikTok, we showed you that we actually got in. This entry here was such a good entry. I mean, I can't believe it. I was so proud of myself with that entry. It was fantastic. And this previous buy zone actually broke below this buy zone, now sell zone. Our target was eventually here, but I think that's a bit too wide. So we actually got out on this one previously, so which we showed on our live. So going into so this was Friday morning. So short Friday morning at 7 o'clock, and eventually went down. So we're waiting for a break. I wasn't expecting it to go down so quickly. I was waiting for it to sort of go here, retest up, to then go back down. But it actually broke it straight away, which was quite interesting. But it did go up to try and retest, and it broke down again and again. So you could have gotten a quick short here, but unfortunately, it didn't reach our initial take profit. But it doesn't always happen. So going through the day, so this is mid morning on the Friday, it did pull back a bit, which we was expecting this pullback here to happen here, but obviously it didn't. So we now failed to break or failed to attempt to retest the 10k level, which has always been on our radar. We should see some more movements to the downside. So this level here is now going to be our new sell zone. This is going to be our new buy zone going into next week. So what we should see here going into next week is a retest of this buy zone to then either it's going to smash through it, which I don't think it will. We should see some sort of reaction at that level. So something on the lines of this. So back into this previous zone to then go down. So we'll have a look on Monday, see what happens with that, and we will just sort of sit on our hands because it's still a no man's land at the moment. I mean, it might pull back into the sell zone to then go back down. So if we see a pull back into here instead of going down, we'll wait for a rejection of that breakout of this zone to then go short. So this could be a good short zone going into next week. Right, we'll do another one shortly. So euro dollar last week. This was a new pair to my morning analysis. It was going to be on there anyway because it had dropped quite a lot. So if I quickly go to the 4 hour, this is what I look at originally before I do my analysis. Obviously, you can see that it has been dropping quite significantly. We were at a level of 1.4, 1.14, which it started to reject quite nicely. So we got to a point where, okay, it's now dropped quite a lot. We can now see whether, I mean, what you could do here as well. I mean, you could probably put a channel in, to be fair, but I didn't at the time. Put that there. So you can see it did drop to 1.14. This was a key level because it's been used previously. So if we do go back, so look here, massive area of consolidation and rejection to the downside, and it has been used before. So it's always been on that level there. Look, that's a great level there, and you can go back forever. So we're not going to do that. So this started on my watch list last week. Might have been the week before last, like midweek. So we were looking at this, waiting for a pullback. Our first pullback. So this is Sunday the 15th. Is that last week or last week before? So that it says. So this was middle of. So this is basically before the big drop on gold. It did find a base here at 1.14. It did pull back and then retest. So that's a new confirmation for us that it's going to keep going up. So this was the week of the drop on gold. And as you can see here, this was when gold dropped. So obviously it did have an effect on euro dollar. So we were saying that it needs to any sort of rejection into this level, we should see a nice pullback. And it did pull back all the way to 1.6. So 1.6 was going to be our first level of interest here. So this was the end of the previous week, and it did sort of fanny around a little bit within this consolidation zone. This gap here was the Sunday open. So going into last week, so last Monday we had this obviously on our watch list from the previous week. Any sort of we were saying any pullback into the 1.5 level first, see how it reacts there. We'll look to see whether it will reject this and go back down to 1.14 or reject 1.15 and go up to 1.16. Pretty easy, yeah? Pretty simple stuff. And what it did do, which was quite quickly actually, it did go back into this level of 1.5. And immediately, like I said, I wasn't ready for how quick this was. It did go right back up to 1.6, which was fantastic. And that was pretty much mid-morning on the Monday. So we'd done our analysis. It was around this level here. And we said, right, any sort of movement into this 1.15 level, we then see it go up to at least hit 1.6. And it did pretty abruptly, to be fair, which is quite nice. So I went into 1.6. It was hovering around 1.6 all of pretty much the most of Monday going into Tuesday. So it actually made this consolidation area between the highs of the breakout of 1.6 and the new sort of lows. And lo and behold, the gap up into the previous open of the week, that was now our support level. So again, well, I forgot to mention before, when stuff gaps, it can be used previously. So if it gaps up and then breaks through it, we can use that as a good level of support. And it done that pretty much all into Tuesday. We had our one, so this is our 1.6 level here. So we were saying any sort of movement around here, we'll keep an eye on it. But as you can see, it was basically just flirting with us going into Wednesday, into Thursday. But what did happen was it did actually break below it, and it retested. So it broke below it in Thursday morning, and it did try and retest the the previous support level. By this point, we did have our trend line on there as well. So we go to the 1 hour. We did have our trend line on there from the lows, and it did respect it once, twice, three times a lady, and it did go back into a once it broke this consolidation zone retest, it did break into this trend line. So the question you're probably asking me is, I mean, look at that, it's now bang on that trend line because I didn't move it properly from the previous day. So what's going to happen on Monday? So we're currently now at this trend line. If, I mean, I say if, we should start to see a pullback to the upside because it has pulled down under this 1.6 level. The first level we're looking for is going to be 1.6, obviously because it's our whole number, and we can put a wedge here as well. I like a wedge, it's nice. Oh, so let's put that there and put that there. Obviously this is a 1 hour wedge, so we could probably do one for the smaller time frame too, but we should see, this is what I plotted this Friday morning. I said we should see an area around here to then look to buy. It did go into this level. If we go to the 15-minute, it did go to this level. Probably need to move this so that sort of area there. It did go into this level here to then break out and retest the support level. So if we'll see some downward movement, we should see a um, push to the downside and then retest our trend line to go back down to 1.4. But I think what's going to happen is we could see a little push up, at least try and retest this previous support, now resistance zone, which is our bottom of our channel. It could just break above here and just go straight up, but I'd never see this pair moving so quickly. So we need to see whether this. I mean, we could see a nice break down into this level here, which had done before shooting back up. So we could see a little bit of pullback into this zone before it pushes up. So that's what we're looking for Monday, and we need to wait for the markets to come to us on this occasion. So another pair here, we've got pound yen. We had this open long trade from the 24th of January, 24th February, as it broke our consolidation quite nicely, and it was failing to break below the 210 whole number. It did actually break below it going in. So this was on the 24th Feb Tuesday. It did actually break below it on the Sunday open of the next week, and it was sort of flirting around that until the Thursday. So all that week, it was sort of and ahhing what to do. We left it open anyway because we believed in our analysis. So that was already open. However, going to the last week, we called this long on pound yen. If you hadn't already been in it, we actually went in it twice. This is our second time we went in it. We called the 211 level because what happened was it was respecting that quite nicely. One as a previous resistance, now support. So respected it as support here, 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 and here, and then here. So we said if 211 holds, we look to go long, and these are our take profit levels from the previous trade we had on the 24th of February. So we called this on where are we? Let's go 15-minute. We called this long on, if I lock that, no, that's gone wrong again. It should be Yeah, we called this on the 19th, which was the week before last, because of it was respecting to 11, and since then it hasn't really dropped. Well, it hasn't dropped at all. Actually, it hasn't been a drawdown at all since we called it. It actually hit our TP1 on Monday. So if you would have opened it on the 19th of March, held it over the weekend, it did gap down a little bit, but it respected an intraday support zone to then fill the gap from Friday, from Sunday open into Monday morning during the Asia session, and then it went back down to this previous support level and went to TP1, and that would have been a good trade there and then, to be honest with you. But um, you know, I had mine open for a month, so you probably could have kept it open going into last week. And speaking of last week, um, this was the Sunday Open. So it actually hit TP1 on Monday last week, but we opened it on Thursday the previous week, or called it Thursday previous week. So once it hit TP1, never really went below to 212 level, which was our previous take profit level on our trade from the 24th of Feb. So we can see, okay, this 212 level is now holding very well. So going into last week, it was just consolidating um, into the 213 level. Once it broke the 213 level, it never really done much for the rest of the week. It did start to consolidate. Um, oh, it did consolidate going into the week. So this is Tuesday, and it was just channeling all the way through till Friday. It did dip a little bit to try and retest 212, but failed. And it's currently closed. Let's put that at the right level. It's currently closed. This is a 15-minute chart below here. So what we should see is any sort of push back to the 212 level to then go up to either retest this previous um, channel bottom or resistance, whatever you want to call it, to then go back down, or this could break, not break the 212 level, and it goes to smash through this consolidation area. So pound yen is just a waiting game now, really. We need to wait and see how it reacts between the top of this channel at 213. This level here is 213 itself. So this is going to be our, what we could do here actually is, while we're live on TikTok and recording for YouTube, we could put in our buy and sell. That's already there anyway. Our buy and sell zone. So that's going to be our buy zone here at 212 because it's a whole number, and that's our sell zone there. So we'll update that going into the morning. So that's our thoughts on pound yen.